Hey guys, it's Michael here, and I'm going to try and get this done really quick. I have some things I want to show you. I don't even remember what all I've gotten since the last time, so it's kind of I tried about 15 times to make a decent video using the camera on my laptop, and the sound on it is so awful that I gave up. So I had to go out and buy some new rechargeable batteries because my batteries had just gotten so worn down on my Canon. But anyway, the Canon's now loaded and firing just fine with the new batteries. So here we go. I'm going to start off before anything else. I got to pull this up and show it. Matt Sands. Wow, this album is really good. I commented when Matt mentioned this group, who are friends of his, and he had posted a song by them, and I noticed some similarities to Tame Impala. Oh well, they're actually much more varied than that. They really have a wider focus than just, and it's mostly the vocals. And the fact that it's a riff-based kind of psych rock. Not heavy psych, but definitely in that vein. These guys are great. So this is some VKLT from Mr. Matt Sands. And Matt, thank you so much. I've played this a couple of times, and I'll be playing it quite a bit more. It is really good. The Young Eyes, Infinite Light. And if you like Tame Impala, if you like that kind of late 60s, early 70s rock, Cream were pretty good at it. There were a lot of bands that were good at it, and it's too early in the morning for me to come up with. You would like this. I'll try and find a link where you can order it. Thank you again, Matt. This is just killer, and I am super into it and really digging it. I'd play it for you, but I've tried playing music in the background while I talk, like a few other people do, and I fail every time. So it just gets too distracting or too hard, or I'm playing it so loud, or any number of things. A couple of real quick shout-outs, too. I want to make Zeke, the Vinyl Geek. I like you too, man. You are an awesome guy. I just watched another one of your videos this morning, a couple of them actually, and well, you always kind of blow my mind with how much incredible stuff you always have to show, and also to Gorvo 31, Carm. I'm partly making this because of the message that you sent me a little while back, and a couple of times you sent me messages, and man, it means a lot to me that you think of me, even when I've been silent for months. You are quite a guy, and I really enjoy watching your videos. I feel like you're just talking directly to me every time, and your real interest in music isn't the center of my wheelhouse, but it's an area that I'm interested in, that I find interesting, and that I don't know much about. So it's always great to see your videos because I'm exposed to stuff I would probably not know of at all otherwise. Anyway, that's kind of it for that. Now on to some other groovy stuff. I'm going to start with this reissue. Most of you guys that will see this probably already know I have it, because I got pretty excited and made a few comments about increasing my debt at a time that I really shouldn't be. But just recently reissued. I do have this on CD. I've had it for a long time on Sub Pop. It's a compilation of the Vaselines music called Enter the Vaselines. The album on CD, it's 2 CDs, and everything is on here that was on the album, and it even has the booklet printed in a much larger format coming with it. I do kind of feel, so just so you don't think I'm totally It's in baby poop yellow. Actually, three shades of baby poop yellow. This would be the third LP. Well, I'm kind of pulling up like this so you can see the different colors. But the Vaselines is a great band. They kind of have a bit of that sort of neo-primitive thing like Beat Happening, but they're, I wouldn't say that they're in any way, kind of maybe gives you a little bit of an idea. And also, of course, most of you, if you're fans of Nirvana, are aware of the fact that that there was a trio from Tacoma, Washington, who did cover a few of their songs. At least, yeah. And Kurt Cobain was a fan. Really good, really good comp. And a lot easier to get than any of their other stuff on any of their originals on vinyl. Only thing I'd ever had other than some CD stuff and some download stuff from them in the past was from this compilation from the label that they were on at the time, which is trying to remember what the name of this label is without getting too 53rd and Third was the label's name. And this was called Good Feeling. It was a comp. It's got one track by the Vaselines and a track by Beat Happening. And it's no coincidence that in those mid-late 80s, the Vaselines really did kind of they were definitely right in with the music scene that was happening there, and I do believe they actually played over there at one time. Anyway, great album on vinyl, and really well worth the price. I think it was $35 for 3 LPs. I think that's a good price for vinyl. Anyway, super pleased to have that. Power Pop has been pretty good. Had some great stuff lately, and I've talked a bit about this band. This is the first LP by two brothers from Long Island who play under the name the Lemon Twigs, and it's here's the amazing part. One of them is 17, one of them is 19, and I'm telling you, these guys are very accomplished, and this is just a really great album. Great songs. I think I said at one point that they were so good that I forgave them for raiding Rod Stewart's 70s wardrobe. I'm not a 70s Rod Stewart fan at all, but I gotta hand it to these guys. They are incredibly good, very young, but certainly not inexperienced. It's as though their entire life they've been preparing for this moment, and they can handle it live really well. Great voices, great melodies, great playing. I'm just really, you ought to check it out. You really should. You won't be sorry. And even for me, probably one of the biggest things to happen in the field for quite some time, Make It Be is at last available, both either as vinyl or a CD, and they are different versions, by the way. The CD has 6 more tracks than the vinyl. It wouldn't have fit on a single LP, but in a way, it was kind of a smart thing too that they did it, because it's really it's as a consequence it's tighter and I would say more accessible. On the other hand, this has some of the wonderful stuff that I love about our Stevie Moore, with his ruminations, spoken word, and some really, really great stuff like that kind of reveals things, about that. It sort of fleshes out and fills out who our Stevie Moore is as an artist, I think, in a way. So I think both are essential. That's my feeling. Our Stevie Moore and Jason Faulkner, Make It Be. Every track on this is great, and it ranges from some quite what I would consider accessible power pop to verging into some pretty raucous rock and roll. A great cover, Don't You Just Know It, an old tune from the 50s. And one song written by Jason Faulkner called Horror Show. A number of co-written things. They're trading back and forth with vocals and everything. This had been in the can, sitting in the can for years. 4 or 5 years ago, when Stevie went to California and spent a week or two in the studio with Jason Faulkner. And I was really beginning to despair that it would ever get an official, awesome vinyl release, although I immediately, the first time I heard it, and I've heard this album for quite some time, I was afraid to even mention it for fear I'd jinx it at one point. But it's out on Bar None, and immediately pops to the top of my list of albums by our Stevie Moore that I would recommend to people who aren't that familiar with our Stevie Moore. It's that good. Every song on it is incredible. I could go on forever. I really could. But I haven't thought long enough to do that without it just being very trying for all of you. Okay, and last of all, this was a complete surprise to me. I did not know that this was coming along until it was done. And I ordered mine. I bought mine directly from David Greenberger, but it's also available from the label, and I believe you can access it on Bandcamp. It's an album called An Idea in Everything on Ocarina. It is Glenn Jones playing guitars and banjo, David Greenberger voice, and Chris Corsano drums and melodica. Now this is essentially it's one of many of David Greenberger's monologue what's the word I'm trying to think of? Collaborative recordings with David doing monologues based on conversations, interviews, and so forth with various people, usually residents of nursing homes, senior centers, people like that. This has been, I think, the defining work of his life in a lot of ways, along with the Duplex Planet and other associated things. It's brilliant. It's a double 10-inch vinyl release. Has a lot of songs on it. I can't count them all up. It is also, by the way, available as a CD now. So, for a little bit less. But I'm going to post some links for this too. David is one of the artists, along with our Stevie Moore, who mean the most to me for personal reasons, for various reasons. But this is just fantastic. And every one of his releases, of these spoken word releases, I think, has a very unique flavor. He collaborates with so many really fine musicians working in really every field. I'm still waiting for the collaboration that he did with Robin Hitchcock to finally see the light of day, and I'm sure it will eventually. And while I'm at it, this, I don't know that I've shown this before. This is his most recent on CD on his own label, Pel Pel. This is David Greenberger with Dinty Child, Keiichi Hashimoto, and Keith Spring. Of course, Dinty Child and Keith Spring are people that you may know through their various other connections. And Keiichi Hashimoto, who plays trumpet and trombone, is a modern jazz musician from the Boston area of no small repute himself. And this is fantastic. One of my favorite tracks of everything, of all time that he has done on these. I Can't Tell You Everything, which ends with the wonderful line. He's talking in sort of a general way. It's almost like, well, this is the human condition, and he ends it all with something like, this is there a cigarette in one hand and nothing in the other. It's just beautiful. Fantastic record. And that photograph is one of the most incredible photographs I think I've ever seen. I absolutely love that. Also, I'm going to make a plug. This should be a double vinyl LP. It's only available as a CD, and it's been out a goodly while now. I think, when did it come out originally? I don't see a date anywhere on here for the whole thing, but this is a compilation of songs that have been co-written with David Greenberger and Chandler Travis. Chandler refers to David as his favorite person to write songs with, and he is one of the best lyricists I think I know of. Never cliche, and always just really strong music. I love every song on this. And I think that, I know they've written enough. They could probably put out, this is 19 tracks, and they could probably release another 19 and not have the quality of songwriting diminished at all. They've been writing together for years and years and years, and these pretty well cover a pretty long, it looks like the earliest recording included in this compilation is 1995, and going up to 2012, and with a couple that had not yet been released that are now on this album, Waving Kissy Head Volumes 2 and 1 by the Chandler Travis Philharmonic. This is a great album too. It's quirky, odd little title. Yeah, The last four tracks are Waving Kissy Head Volume 1, and that was kind of released digitally. I think it was last September maybe, and then the whole thing, and knowing that there was going to be a full album coming along with it, and then the whole thing got released. Great stuff. This is a guy who's eclectic. He plays multiple styles, everything from what I would consider kind of a Dixieland flavored stuff, all the way up through very punkish post-punk rock and roll, and anything in between. I think his criteria for a song must include that it's fun to play, I guess. Wow, I don't know. A journeyman who deserves to be much better known, Chandler Travis. The Philharmonic is one of his many projects, and it had been years since he'd released something with the Philharmonic. Certainly happy to have this in my collection. So that's really it. I've done it, and I've managed to do it a relatively short period of time. I'm going to stop right now. I do have some other things I want to talk about, but I think right now I've done enough. I don't want to bore y'all too much. Have a great day. Did I get it? Nope.